I grew up on a horse farm in Newton Robinson, and we bred horses and raised them and trained them, and we raced them. My grandfather was very interested in horses all his life, and even when he was an MP in Ottawa, he used to go and race his horses at Saratoga and sort of slip back to Ottawa. And then my dad drove, my brother Earl drove, my cousin Scott drove, so we'd always gone to the races. And then in the 60s, Dad and Grandpa built Windsor Raceway, and then later sold that to Mr. Levesque. And then while Dad was in Windsor, my brother Earl Jr. Built Barrie, a lot of phoning back and forth. And then I took over Barrie, almost 20 years ago now. And then the opportunity came to move and build Georgian Downs, and it seemed almost unbelievable at the time, but after 2 or 3 long years, it's here, and we're very lucky. We're really happy with our new location. The most different thing about this building is its outside shape and the 2 barn roofs that we have incorporated into the design. Our architects were Clyman's Green and Lang from Toronto, and they noticed driving up the Highway 400 that there were all these barns, and they wanted it to fit into the landscape, and so they used that element in the design, and it worked quite well. And then they made the silo sort of element, or the tower. That's probably the biggest difference. The track's a 5/8 track instead of a half mile, so that made our horsemen happy. And we're lucky that the racetrack itself has turned out very well. They like it very much. We've had some experimenting with screenings, but the basic design and the turns are according to our horse people, they're fine. And even though you have Chuck Kuhn and his sons do that, I think there's an element of, there's some luck in how your track turns out and whether it's seen to be a good track or not, and it seems to have worked out really well. And I think the best thing about moving was that we were able to build from scratch and have a new facility for our horse racing customers as well as our slot patrons. The other tracks that haven't been able to do that have had to add on or retrofit old areas of the grandstand, and it's made it difficult to make the racing side as nice as the slot side because the slots are all so beautifully done. And in our case, we were really lucky that we were able to start from scratch and make both sides, well, our side isn't really themed. Our horse race patrons they feel very well looked after in the new digs.
This is our Name That Foal exhibit. It was a contest we had running this summer for naming a foal, and it's part of our mandate here at Georgian Downs to bring the sport of harness racing closer to the people. So we received 360 ballots, and tonight everybody who made a submission, 2 people picked or choose the same name, and it was picked by the colt's owner, and they're having a VIP dinner for 6 in our clubhouse tonight, and the other 358 people are here visiting the foal. The new facility certainly had a great deal to do with it. We were able to design a user-friendly racetrack from the ground up, and that certainly has complemented our marketing program here at Georgian Downs.
Well, the slots really have helped us a lot. In terms of purses, at Barrie Raceway, our purses in a year were about $2 million, just under $2 million. And at Georgian Downs, they'll be $9 million this year. And it's enabled us to not just raise purses, but also add race days. And so we've been able to add our days back that were contracted because of simulcasting. We'd gone from 100 days to 50, and now we've been able to add back to 100, and obviously those are a lot of racing opportunities for horse people, and they're very happy. And it's also given us another level of racing here, another level of purses, and we have horses here now from the States, from the Meadowlands, from Woodbine, racing regularly.
The attendance here has exceeded our expectations in the first 18 months of our operation. We're seeing people here that we never saw at the old Barrie Raceway, namely the younger adult between the ages of 19 and 25.
My dad is 80 years this fall. It's hard to imagine how old Grandpa would be if he was here, but I think he'd really like it. He was always really a people person. He really liked people, and he really liked his trotters particularly, and I think he'd approve.